I hate to say it, but Little Big Planet is becoming the next Call of Duty. It seems a little harsh, but the formula is essentially the same. Repeated type of playstyle, small amount of offline value, the same items for creation/customization, and a lot of replay value relying on the community. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy it to its fullest, but if you're looking for something new and revolutionary, you probably won't find it. If you've ever played any karting game before, you'll immediately be at home in Little Big Planet Karting. Most of the events have you racing around a highly colorful and ever-exciting track against 7 opponents. You can take special shortcuts, activate speed boosts, and of course pick up a variety of different weapons by which you consider your adversaries. Beyond races, there are also some extremely enjoyable battle-type events. In these, you traverse around an arena grabbing weapons and trying to kill everyone else. The person with the highest kills at the end wins, much like a deathmatch mode on wheels. The cool thing about LBPK is that the creativity option allows for much more out-there levels. Some of these levels will have you capturing eggs and bringing them to a location, others will have you chasing a large boss around a track, or even jumping over an endless conveyor belt of explosive desserts. There's always a classic feel of karting, but the fun creativity of Little Big Planet brings a new level of enjoyment to the game. There is a downside to this creativity, however, and this game won't let you forget it either. Oftentimes you'll find yourself racing in an event only to be blindsided by some ridiculous weapon, and without the constant ability to defend yourself, you are often open to all sorts of attacks. The game does tend to rely more on what weapon you have as compared to how good you are at racing, but this is usually the theme of any karting game. Nonetheless, Little Big Planet Karting provides a really addictive gameplay style, and with the countless community levels you're bound to experience a different way to play the game in any afternoon. Little Big Planet has always brought a bright and vivid world to the table, and karting is no different. The colors all seem to pop and flow in its creative world, and oftentimes you forget that you're in a race because you just want to admire some of the game's art. While the game won't blow your mind in terms of realistic looks or very fine details, it accomplishes what it is set out to do. Be a representation of our imagination. Create a fun, cartoonish world that has you drifting back in nostalgia to the better days. There's some great lighting, fog, and distance effects, and a whole slew of textures that really catch your eye. Sackboy and his carts are all enhanced enough to be able to see some of the individual details even in a race, and I love the little things like the explosion effects and the different weapons' appearances when you use them. In the end, I don't really have anything bad to say about the graphics, except this is the third Little Big Planet on the PS3, and it's starting to look a little overused. However, the graphics are good and this really works well for the game, and without the necessity to upgrade, they might as well keep the same system. Much like the game's fun and imaginative graphics, LBPK has an awesome soundtrack. Each one of the story levels has its own song and fits damn near perfect to the track's theme. What's even better is that all the songs are really addictive, meaning you may not even play a track for the track, but more so to hear the song. Beyond the awesome music, the FX in the game work really well. There's a sound for just about everything that helps you know what's going on in the event you're in. From weapons to drifting and track events, the little details and SFX really bring a new level to this game. In building a kart, you even get to pick your kart's engine sound as well as a comical horn of your choice. And of course, to top it all off, Stephen Fry is back to narrate your adventure and help you in create mode. As mentioned before, Little Big Planet Karting really relies on the community to keep you coming back. The story levels all have numerous collectibles in them which may take you a few tries to grab them all. There are only a few small side games in the story, and while it may take you many tries to earn the highest score for all the prizes, you'll probably just end up getting more annoyed than anything. The community, however, is amazing. Hundreds of new levels every day await you, ranging from races to events to any sort of thing. I've even seen first-person shooters. The thing is that if you don't have access to good internet, then you might be out of luck. However, you can always try your hand at creating. With no real limits to what you can create, you can do just about anything with enough practice. However, the create mode has a very steep learning curve, which sadly turns most people away the first few tries, but given enough time with it, you can do some pretty awesome things. In the end, you're buying Little Big Planet Karting for the community. The story levels are good and fun, but they fade away. If you have the patience for creating your own tracks, or you just like exploring the community, then this game, like most Little Big Planet games, could keep you occupied for some time. No game is without a few issues. However, I feel that LBPK has a few things we haven't seen before, and some things that really should have been addressed this time around. The game tends to freeze often, and much more than any Little Big Planet in the past. I've had it for less than a week, and it's already froze up 5 times. In creating your sack person or cart, you really have to be accurate with placing the stickers or decorations, and there's no zoom-in feature. You're left guessing exactly where you want to place your customizables, and oftentimes you place them in the wrong place without realizing what you're doing. And for your sack person, you can't even turn them around to place things on their back half. One of the more annoying things can be the races themselves. Because there's no separate system to help you from getting blasted by a weaponator, you're constantly trying to find a weapon pickup, and if you don't have one, you're out of luck. While this can work in karting games, LBPK has something just off about it. Maybe it's the unrealistic pickup rate of overpowered weapons, as I found myself in first place many times only to be sent to 8th because, for some reason, the game decided to hand out a first place homing rocket to 3 different opponents at the same time. Or maybe it's just a slow reset time for getting back into the race. Either way, be prepared to almost come in first or take the lead, only to be bombarded by multiple weaponators, leaving you no hope of possibly finishing in the top half. The worst thing about Little Big Planet Karting that has me so frustrated because they refuse to change it over multiple LBP games is how you navigate the levels, both offline and online. The game offers no real smooth transition between levels, and therefore you must go back to the pod to choose a new level, which means more loading times and larger breaks. If you're playing online with others, you can vote on 3 other levels to jump into, but without any choice on what those levels are, you're usually disappointed. Community levels are the worst too, because the loading times are greater and the searches always started over from the beginning. You can choose the most played levels or the dev team's favorite levels, but what if you want to search levels by something else? Well, you can pick most played, most hearted, busiest, or newest, but 3 of those 4 are almost always the same levels. The way you scroll through the levels really has me annoyed as well, as you always start from top and make your way to the bottom, and you must do this every time you change levels, all the while the game is trying to load every level's description as you pass over it, making level options bounce around giving you a frickin' seizure. I strongly feel that the way you search for levels and the transition between them need to be addressed somehow, but if you can get past that, you will still have a good time. Little Big Planet Karting is a fun, fast-paced, multi-event and exciting game. You will undoubtedly enjoy your time in the Imagisphere, albeit some noticeable hiccups. While the game relies a lot on the community, there are still enough levels to keep you occupied offline for a little while, and the create mode is something to be reckoned with. If you like karting games, I definitely recommend you pick it up, but just be prepared for some large differences when compared to other games. In the end, I give it a 7.8 out of 10. The gameplay can be a little frustrating at times, but nonetheless it's still enjoyable. The graphics and sound are great, and the replay value does rely a lot on the community, but it's still fun. Sadly enough, this game does have a few issues, mainly being freezing and a lot of loading times, so be prepared for that. I still recommend you pick it up, and I know you're going to enjoy it.